For a long period of time, you'll find something. It could be your chest hair, it could be your fingernails, whatever it is, there's something that people like about themselves. But when we get to the negatives, when it comes down to the things that we don't like about ourselves, it's really easy to start writing this list that just does not stop. I'm not even going to go through the list of things I don't like about myself. I'm just going to go straight to the thing I hate least. And that is my tree trunk legs. I hate them. I've been teased about my legs probably from the day I was born. It's like I was born and God was like, ha, this is going to be something that stuffs this guy up. I remember when I was in year 6, I think you're what, like 11 years of age then? Year 6? Whatever. I'm in year 6 and I finished my class work early. Smart kid, right? And the teacher's like, oh, your reward for finishing your work early is you can go sit outside and talk to all the other cool kids who've done their work early. So I head outside there and I sit down and I'm talking to my friends who finished their work. And one guy walks up to me and he's just like, wow, you have really hairy legs. And I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, thanks, man. And all the other girls that are around there start coming and they're checking out my legs and they're like, wow, are you like an animal or like part beast? Like, what is up with the hair on your legs? And so we're having this conversation, and on the outside I'm talking with them and I got this really cool nickname, Wolf Boy. Yeah? Wolf Boy, cool name? Yeah, not so much. So I was there and at the time I joked with everyone, but after they teased me about my legs, I went home that night. And I used to shower at night, but instead of showering that night, this is what I did. I went into the bathroom, I had a bath instead, I stole my mum's razor, I shaved my legs when I was in year 6 so that I would come back to school a human and no longer a wolf boy. That is the way people manage to affect me. I guess this kind of stuff happens to all people, right? I mean, maybe you don't run home and shave your legs or something like that, but absolutely everyone has something about themselves that they don't like. And they don't like it when other people point it out about them. So what happens to us when the stuff we like about ourselves, the stuff we don't like about ourselves, suddenly becomes public? What happens when that stuff is aired out in public and it makes us feel bad? I want you guys to quickly check out this video clip from the first Toy Story. Let's watch this.
What is it?
Can you see
What?
it?
Hey, it's up there.
Woody, who's up there with you?
Woody, what are you doing under the bed?
Nothing. I'm sure Andy was just a little excited. That's all. Too much cake and ice cream. I suppose it's just a mistake.
Well, that mistake is sitting in your spot, Woody. Have you been replaced?
Hey, what did I tell you earlier? No one is getting replaced. Now let's all be polite and give whatever it is up there a nice, big, Andy's room welcome.
Oh, impressive wingspan. Very good.
Oh, what? What? These are plastic. You can't fly.
They are a beryllium carbonic alloy, and I can fly.
No, you can't.
Yes, I can.
You can't.
Can.
Can't.
I tell you, I could fly around this room with my eyes closed.
Okay, then, Mr. Lightbeard, prove it.
All right, then I will. Stand back, everyone. To infinity and beyond!
I found my moving buddy.
Oh, thank you. Thank you all. Thank you.
That wasn't flying. That was falling with style.
Man, this DOS must really go for you.
Got it, Bob, out it.
Oh, shut up. You know, in a couple of days, everything will be just a little less. They'll see. They'll see. I'm still Annie's favorite toy.
Seems like we have some Toy Story fans in the house. I heard some people quoting the lyrics. Hey, if you're anything like me, you're probably starting to watch that scene and you're starting to get a little frustrated with Woody. I mean, like, he's so tense. He's so insecure and whiny, and then there's Buzz. Like, he's cool, he's got lasers, and he can fall with style. But the scene, apart from being enjoyable, asks us audience members, the people watching it, a really pertinent question. Where does our sense of self-worth, where does our sense of security and identity come from? Where does our self-worth and identity come from? If your value or identity comes from how your friends see you, or how your family or your colleagues view you, if your sense of identity comes from magazines or movies or TV or the media, then your identity comes from the world, right? And the problem with this is that this is subject to all the fads and people's changing desires. Your identity can change with absolutely everybody and everything else. So I'm in year 6 and my identity came from my friends. And so when my friends said to me, well, you got really hairy legs, man, you look like a wolf, all of a sudden I'm in the bathtub and I'm shaving because that meant something, that affected me. Or if you're like Woody and your identity is like wrapped up in the fact that you're Andy's favourite toy. Andy loves to play with you, and all of a sudden when another toy comes along, you feel threatened and insecure because you might be replaced. If your identity comes from the world, what happens when things go wrong? What happens when your friends tease you? What happens if you fail a test? What happens when your identity comes from the world and your boyfriend or your girlfriend dumps you? What happens to you if your parents fight or even end up splitting up? If you're shaped by the world, what happens when stuff gets ugly and stuff goes wrong in everyone's life? Doesn't matter whether it's been teased or whatever it is. But what happens to you when what you look like and how you're viewed is shaped by other people and what they think? You know, working with all you guys and at the school and just through some reading that I sometimes do, I find it really scary when people whose identity is shaped by those around them just start turning to a scene of partying or drugs or alcohol, or they get into fights or they have self-esteem issues and they get into self-harm. And it just becomes a really downward spiral of things because they're unhappy with their life. And I know this may seem extreme, right? I know just suddenly talking about people being depressed or getting violent because they're unhappy and because others don't value them seems like an extreme response. But I think it's really explainable if you take into account what the greatest thinkers, the greatest philosophers and scientists of our day and age tell us about us and our existence. So, for example, we're told through science and philosophy that we are an accident. One guy named John Lennox puts it this way: we are the product of irrational forces acting as mindless matter and energy in an unguided way, whatever that means. Or a musician in all the year 11 should recognize this quote from Kant. A musician named Joni Mitchell says, we're stardust. We're a billion-year-old stardust. Well, thanks, I'm dirt. I appreciate that very much. I mean, have you ever stopped to wonder why people are so messed up? Try because the media and the greatest thinkers of our time, the supposed greatest thinkers of time, tell us that we're worthless, that we're accidents. For example, when I was just doing some reading and watching some TV, I stumbled across some research that says that the raw materials of our body, all the stuff that we're made up of, if we were to try sell it, so our skin, our bones, our hair follicles, all that stuff, if you should try sell it, then you're worth somewhere between $2 and $5 American dollars. Woo! You're worth a lot. $2 to $5 American dollars. Like, hey, I would like to have some skin dust, I want to fix my leg. Oh yeah, to fix your leg, 85 cents. That's all your body is worth. Yeah, not so much. I don't know about how that makes you guys feel, but I feel indignant when I hear that. The US Bureau of Chemistry, a whole bunch of facts and figures tonight, because I'm probably like, what's going on here? But it says that when you look at our body, this is what we're made up of. 65% oxygen, 18% carbon, 10% hydrogen, 3% nitrogen, 1.5% calcium, 1% phosphorus, and a whole bunch of other stuff. which is just big words which mean absolutely nothing outside of a science class, so I'm not going to go there. But you know what?